Star Wars: The Clone Wars is a staple of Star Wars media and has amassed a large following in recent years. The show has given fans a plethora of gripping stories, quotable moments, and memorable characters. These characters will be our main focus as there are many heroes across the galaxy and several villains as well. But keep in mind that we are not counting the characters' actions in the movie Revenge of the Sith, only what they do in the Clone Wars show. Question is, where do these characters rank on the moral compass? I'm Kyle with Wicked Binge, and this is Star Wars: The Clone Wars Good to Evil. But first, I want to take a minute and talk about today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN. Privacy and internet security are very important. One minute you're chatting online with a beautiful woman from Eastern Europe, and the next, you're waking up in a bathtub missing a kidney.
Oh, they took my freaking kidney.
But Surfshark will encrypt your data and keep it safe. And let's talk about another VPN perk: more cartoons, movies, and shows on your favorite streaming platforms. Did you know that Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, and just about every streaming service under the sun blocks content based on your region? That means a bunch of cartoons and movies available here in the US are not available in the UK, and a ton of stuff available around the world isn't available here in the US. However, Surfshark VPN will allow you to change your server to another country so those shows instantly become available. And it's not just obscure stuff that gets blocked by these streaming sites. On the US Netflix, you can't access South Park, Rick and Morty, Family Guy, or Steven Universe, unless you use Surfshark to unlock it all in a couple seconds. And Surfshark was cool enough to hook us up with a promo code for our audience. If you use code WICKED when signing up, you'll get 83% off and an extra 3 months for free. Just click the link below and it'll take you right there. Thank you, Surfshark, for sponsoring us today, helping us unlock more content online and keeping our data safe. Now, let's get back to the video. As usual, we'll be starting off with the most pure and heroic character and working our way down. These characters are the good. Kicking off the good characters is the fan favorite and the best of the Jedi Order, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan is a respected member of the Jedi Council and a brother figure to Anakin Skywalker. He cares for every one of his fellow Jedi as well as every citizen in the galaxy and is a strong force of good. Known for his negotiating and leadership, Obi-Wan is looked up to by his troopers and Jedi peers. His good humor and sense of justice has never wavered, despite many tragedies and hardships that the Jedi Master has had to deal with over the years. Kenobi held no grudges, and despite dealing with Darth Maul and General Grievous, he never caves to the dark side. He truly is what a Jedi should be, and for that reason we give him our gold medal of good. Taking our silver medal of good is the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker and an all-around good Jedi, or should we say citizen, Ahsoka Tano. In the beginning, Ahsoka was rather obnoxious and widely disliked by the fanbase for her little sister-like nature and tendency to make risky decisions that endangered the other protagonists.
Does anyone care what the Padawan thinks?
But she grew into a competent and caring ally. Such an example was when she was framed and the Jedi Order turned against her. She kept her dignity and eventually left the Order after she was proven to be innocent. The peak of her heroics came from the siege of Mandalore, where she liberated Mandalore and put a stop to Darth Maul's vicious reign. She grew for the better, thus earning the Silver Medal of Good. The Bronze Medal of Good goes to Captain Rex. Rex is the very definition of a loyal trooper. He is respected by his men, as well as the Jedi, and is always concerned for the well-being of his troopers. In the Umbara arc, Rex was horrified to learn that General Krell was pitting the clones against each other and organized a revolt to save his men. Leading the 501st Legion alongside Anakin Skywalker has taught Rex to think outside the box, and that going against the grain is necessary to achieve victory. Finally, Captain Rex was able to show some restraint during Order 66 after forcing himself to fight the chip in his head long enough for Ahsoka to escape and remove it from him.
Execute Order 66.
Falling just outside the top 3 is Padme Amidala, the senator of Naboo. A fair and honest leader, she tries to see the good in everyone and will do whatever it takes to stop the war against the Separatists. While she is a diplomat first, she has shown the ability to take matters into her own hands and fight battles herself, such as working with Anakin and Obi-Wan to take down the Malevolence, the Separatist superweapon. Her biggest flaw is her secret marriage to Anakin, which could get him kicked from the Jedi Order if discovered. But other than that, she is a bold leader and a staunch believer in peaceful revolutions to conflict. Next up is the Jedi Grand Master himself, Yoda. Yoda is the wise leader of the Jedi Order and head of the Jedi Council. Yoda is reserved and thoughtful, adhering to the Jedi Code and training younger Jedi in the Temple. Yoda is also not afraid to step on the battlefield and fight too, as shown in the first episode where he leads a small group of clones to save a Toydarian king. The war wears on Yoda since he dislikes the Jedi being soldiers and generals, but he'll do what it takes to protect the galaxy. Speaking of wise Jedi, Plo Koon is next. Plo Koon is a high-ranking member of the Jedi Council and a father figure to Ahsoka. He is easily one of the most compassionate Jedi and is known for his wise ways and kindness, even being one of the few council members who believed Ahsoka's innocence when she was framed for a crime she did not commit. But one of his best qualities is that he is one of the few Jedi who view the clones as their equals, and when told that the clones were meant to be expendable, he replied, "Not to me."
I value your life.
Senator Bail Organa takes the next spot on our list. He sided with the Republic during the war and was a strong believer in democracy and serving the people of the Republic. He doesn't rank any higher because we rarely see him when he is not assisting Padme, but his presence is still felt nonetheless. The daughter is next. As the living incarnation of the light side of the Force, she is naturally a kind and caring being, helping Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan navigate through the Force world of Mortis. That being said, we have to knock her down a few spots due to her kidnapping Ahsoka as part of a test for Anakin to see who he would rescue, Ahsoka or Obi-Wan. Aside from that, she is a kind being, even going as far as to save the trio from her brother, who sought to lure Anakin to the dark side. The ruler of Mandalore, Duchess Satine Kryze, comes next. As the former ruler of Mandalore, she tried to bring the planet away from its brutal warrior past and embrace pacifism. She didn't believe in violence and as a result took no part in the war, deciding that Mandalore would be neutral, even if it meant losing her sister, who wanted Mandalore to return to its roots. However, her biggest flaw ultimately was her pacifist ways, which doomed the planet, and Satine was easily overthrown by Pre Vizsla and Darth Maul. Let's talk about everyone's favorite feisty astromech droid, R2-D2. R2 is Anakin's loyal droid who stayed with him through every conflict. Some examples of his heroics included exposing the traitorous clone Sergeant Slick, aiding Anakin and Ahsoka in rescuing Jabba's son Rhoda the Hutt, saving Anakin and Mace Windu from starship debris, infiltrating the Citadel, and many other heroic deeds. The only negative aspect other than his sarcastic and fiery personality is that R2 has willingly disobeyed many orders and has done some iffy things while working with Anakin. However, R2 is a droid with a heart of gold and deserves to be this high on our list. Next is the Jedi Master Kit Fisto. Fisto is an easygoing and good-natured Jedi, to say the least. He usually maintains a positive outlook and even smiles in combat. And he also has a strong moral backbone and an unshakable faith in justice, evidenced when he saved the people of Mon Cala from the Separatists and tried to capture General Grievous. He cares for his fellow beings, preferring not to kill anyone, even Separatists. We don't see him too often, but he is always a welcoming presence in every episode he's in. Next up is Fives, the loyal clone trooper who attempted to expose the plot to destroy the Jedi. Fives was well known for caring about the other clones, even becoming furious when someone referred to a clone as their number instead of their nickname. Like Captain Rex, Fives goes above and beyond to serve the Republic and isn't afraid to disobey orders to help his clone brothers. The biggest example was when he exposed the chip in the clones' brains that would make them execute Order 66. He gave it his all to stop the Order 66 plot and died trying to alert the Jedi and his fellow clones. clones. If only they had listened. The gruff and no-nonsense Jedi Master, even Piel, takes the next spot. He only appears in the Citadel arc, where he has to be rescued by Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka. He went out of his way to rescue his men and even his disagreeable second-in-command, Admiral Tarkin. His main concern was always for his men, and he used his dying breath to tell Ahsoka about the secret hyperspace routes that would give the Republic the edge in the war. We've discussed Captain Rex and Fives, now we need to talk about Echo. Echo was a clone trooper who served alongside Rex and Fives in the 501st. He shares many of the same honorable traits as them, but his story is different. While he supposedly died in the Citadel arc, it turns out that he was captured by the Separatists and was experimented on to be a living computer for the Separatists to calculate battle strategies. Anakin, Rex, and the Bad Batch rescued him, and with his freedom, he was able to hack into the Separatists' computers. Afterwards, he became the newest member of the Bad Batch and served with them. However, it is unknown what happened to Echo after Order 66. Prince Lichar is up next. He is a young prince who had to save his home planet from the Separatists. His naive nature and inexperience caused him to make questionable decisions, but with the help of Admiral Akbar, Anakin Skywalker, and Kit Fisto, he was able to lead his people to freedom.
I have come to demand the freedom of my people.
He united the warring species of the Mon Calamari and the Quarren and killed the villainous separatist leader Riff Tampson, and was recognized as Mon Cala's new leader. The father was difficult to place, but we believe he belongs in the good.
Welcome, my friend.
When your children are the literal personifications of the light and dark side, you'd have to make some tough parenting choices. He tries to control the son and temper his dark nature, and causes a rift between them as a result. In his final days, he lures Anakin to Mortis to test him to see if he is in fact the chosen one. The test of choosing to save Ahsoka or Obi-Wan isn't exactly something that qualifies as good, but we understand his predicament.
Which one will you choose to save?
But at the end of the day, the father wants to bring balance to the Force and keep Anakin from falling to the dark side, so we'll do whatever is necessary to make that happen. We have another clone to talk about that is Obi-Wan's second-in-command, Commander Cody. Commander Cody leads the 212th Division and is as honorable as Captain Rex. However, he mostly does things by the book and will not stray from orders or any plans. Aside from that, he is a loyal trooper and has fought side by side with Obi-Wan on many occasions. Keep in mind that we will not factor in Order 66, as we did not see it affect him in the show. We have to talk about him eventually. Next is Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar is often more of a hindrance than a help, but he is well-meaning.
Misa understands, my lady.
His lack of intelligence has often landed his allies in unfortunate situations, such as pretending to be a Jedi to scare off battle droids, or weighing down Mace Windu during their mission to save Queen Julie of Bardota. Jar Jar has saved the day more than a few times, and his innocent nature keeps him from being any lower. From one hindrance to another, C-3PO is next. Like Jar Jar, he means well, but his nature of being a protocol droid makes him uptight. However, that is not the reason he is lower on the good tier. He may inadvertently save the day, but he will do a great deal of complaining about it. Second from the bottom of our good tier is Jedi Master Luminara Unduli. There isn't too much to say about her other than she is extremely close-minded and by the book. She is heroic and serves the Republic well, but her extreme devotion to the Jedi Code often keeps her from achieving victory, such as scolding Ahsoka for threatening Nute Gunray during an interrogation, and often looking down on Anakin's simple logic, even when he's right. Above all, she is a hero and will admit when she is wrong, which lands her in our good list. And wrapping up our good section is Jedi Master Shakti. Let's make one thing clear. Yes, she is wise. Yes, she cares for the Republic, but her handling of Fives exposing the Order 66 plot knocks her down to the bottom of the good list. Fives had proof of the chips inside of the clones, and even showed them to her. but she sided with the Kaminoans and believed their lies that the chip was only for less aggressiveness, playing right into their and Darth Sidious's hands. If she had done any digging herself instead of just trusting the Kaminoans, Order 66 could have been avoided. With all that said, we wrap up the good section and move into the neutral territory. These characters fall in the gray area. Starting out the gray area is Admiral Yularen. Yularen is one of the smartest and bravest members of the Republic Navy and was assigned Anakin Skywalker's fleet. While an honorable man, Yularen has very little patience for recklessness, which often resulted in butting heads with Anakin, even saying, "Of all the Jedi, why did I have to end up with Skywalker?" But his respect for Skywalker made this tolerable.
Are all Jedi so reckless?
However, he has displayed less tolerance for Aayla Secura and Ahsoka Tano until Anakin made him give them a chance. He is a stern man, but a loyal officer. Eventually, we had to get to Mace Windu. Mace Windu is second in command of the Jedi Order behind Yoda, and one of the top Jedi generals in the galactic military. Windu has a dislike of corruption and the Sith, and actively bemoans the Jedi's duty as soldiers for the Republic. While a celebrated member of the Jedi Council, he was always suspicious of outsiders to the Order, and his blatant disrespect for Ahsoka Tano, after she helped to save Mandalore by calling her a citizen, amplify that. He usually came into disagreements with Anakin, Ahsoka, the Chancellor, and others when they even remotely questioned the Jedi Code. What puts him in the gray area was his eagerness to remove Ahsoka from the Order after she'd been framed for bombing the Jedi Temple, and he didn't even apologize when she was found innocent. But to be fair, he was right about the Chancellor. Up next is the pompous and ill-tempered Colonel Meeber Gascon, an accomplished battlefield strategist and Republic colonel responsible for leading the D-Squad, a squad of astromech droids and a WAC unit, to steal a separatist encryption chip, though he is often dismissed as a map reader. He makes it clear that he isn't fond of droids and only cares about completing this mission to be promoted to Brigadier General. He does eventually learn humility after he and his D-Squad thwart a separatist attack on the Republic Strategy Conference, and he was actually grateful for the droids' perseverance and bravery. The next spot goes to the Bad Batch, a special clone squad comprised of Sergeant Hunter, their leader, Wrecker, their muscle, Crosshair, their sniper, and Tech, their tech specialist. This group looks down on other clones, seeing them as mere soldiers and not as elite as they are, even doubting Captain Rex and Commander Cody. However, they did allow Echo into their ranks and gained a respect for the other clones after they helped rescue Echo. Due to their brash and arrogant personalities, we can't rank them any higher. But we can't rank them lower due to their heroics, and we don't know what happened to them after Order 66. Moving on to the controversial sisters, Trace and Rafa Martez. They are citizens of the lower levels of Coruscant and have to live in rough areas and deal with shady people, which explains their personalities. Trace and Rafa only depend on each other and trust nobody else. They are both sarcastic and impulsive, and they are known to work with less than reputable people to make ends meet. They eventually do warm up to Ahsoka after they meet her, end up helping Ahsoka bring down the Pike Syndicate. In reality, they are decent people who just got a rough roll of the dice. Bo-Katan takes the next spot in the gray. As a Mandalorian warrior and member of Death Watch, she wants to return the people of Mandalore to their warrior roots. Bo-Katan in Pre Vizsla worked with Darth Maul and Savage Opress to turn citizens of Mandalore against the Duchess, but she was horrified when Maul killed Vizsla, as well as Satine, even calling for Jedi support to free her people from Maul and forming a bond with Ahsoka. We need to address the rest of the 501st clones, specifically Jesse, Kix, and Tup, as they were the only clone division that we saw get affected by Order 66. Tup was an interesting case, as his chip activated prematurely and he killed Jedi Knight Tiplar. After his chip went off, he had the urge to kill Jedi and became violent when he looked at them. As for Jesse and Kix, they were victims of Order 66 and turned on Ahsoka and eventually Captain Rex when his chip was removed. They are good soldiers, but Order 66 lands them in the gray area. Anakin Skywalker was difficult to place, but we decided on putting him towards the bottom of the gray area. He has many instances of heroism, but also many instances that foreshadow his fall to the dark side. He isn't very loyal to the Jedi Code, but it serves him well, allowing him to think outside the box to achieve victory. On the other hand, he is also known to kill unarmed opponents such as Tal Merrick and Admiral Trench, who he stabbed with his lightsaber, though they were unable to put up much of a fight. Another instance was ramming a star cruiser into a separatist ship after feigning a surrender, which is a war crime. One of his biggest red flags was his friendliness with Admiral Tarkin, who also believed that the Jedi's code made them weak. We can't forget to mention Anakin's secret relationship with Padme, which is also against the Jedi code and one of the biggest factors which led him to becoming Darth Vader. The lovable pirate, Hondo Ohnaka, is next. Hondo is an odd character. He loves money, and his crew has been known to raid unsuspecting starships, but he has a certain charm to him. He seems to be able to get along with anyone, whether it's bounty hunters like Aurra Sing or Jedi like Obi-Wan Kenobi. With this information, it can be hard to gauge him, as he can have noble or evil intentions. Some of his worst acts include holding Count Dooku for ransom and then drugging Anakin and Obi-Wan to sell them to the Republic. But he also convinced Boba Fett to release his captives, as it is what his father would have wanted.
Tell the Jedi what he wants to know, Boba.
Long story short, Hondo is a pirate, but he's fun to watch. Nearing the end of the gray area is Rush Clovis. Clovis is another character who is tricky to place, but we didn't place him in evil because while he did betray the Republic, he has no intent to harm anyone, especially Padme, who he likes, though she does not feel the same way. His dealings with the Separatists make him untrustworthy, and he only cares for the well-being of his homeworld, but he gets some good points for exposing the banking clan's corruption. This character may surprise some, but rounding out our gray area is Boba Fett. He holds a grudge against Mace Windu for killing his father and tried to assassinate him, costing the lives of other clones. He works with some evil people, including Asajj Ventress, Aurra Sing, and Bossk, all to make Windu pay. What keeps him from being in the bad tier is his hesitation to kill clones, as he sees himself in them and couldn't bring himself to execute one. Finally, we have arrived at the dark side. These characters are the worst the galaxy has to offer. They are the bad and the evil. First up on the bad tier is Prime Minister Almec. He was a shady prime minister to say the least, what with his using black market supplies to help Mandalore and even being a puppet leader to Darth Maul's tyrannical rule. There's not much else to say, but we kept him this high because he was going to reveal Maul's plan before Maul's troopers assassinated him. Next is Sergeant Slick. Slick was a clone defector who fed the Separatists information about Republic movements during the Battle of Christophsis, and betrayed his brother by attempting to let Chopper take the fall. The reason he isn't lower is that he genuinely cares for his fellow clones and wanted a better life for them, believing them to be slaves of the Republic. Next up is a widely disliked character, Admiral Tarkin. Tarkin is an admiral for the Republic fleet and is a cold and intelligent leader. Tarkin values efficiency above anything else and will happily breach protocol and ethics in order to obtain victory. While he is loyal to the Republic, he is really only loyal to Chancellor Palpatine and will bypass the Jedi to serve the Chancellor directly. On that note, he despises Jedi as they are immune to the military bureaucracy, and their code prevents otherwise easy victories. At his worst, Tarkin was the lead prosecutor of Ahsoka Tano after she was accused of bombing the temple and was bent on getting her convicted, even demanding that the death penalty be used if found guilty. The next spot goes to two characters, Aurra Sing and Bossk. They are both ruthless bounty hunters and prioritize money. Sing is a motherly figure for Boba Fett and teaches him the ways of being a bounty hunter. She wants him to kill and attempts to instill her brutal personality into Boba. Not a good role model. Bossk is a sadistic bounty hunter who is known for rarely bringing back his targets alive. He even said to Sing and Boba that if their mission to capture Mace Windu took too long, he would start executing the hostages out of boredom. Really horrific people. Next, we have the leader of the Night Sisters, Mother Talzin. Talzin uses dark magic instead of the Force and is a powerful witch. She cares for the Night Sister clan and welcomes Asajj Ventress back with open arms. She even cares about Maul and his brother as well. She is not as friendly to outsiders, often using magic to torture others that she dislikes. At her peak of evil, she attempts to fuel her existence by draining the life of Queen Julie of Bardota. Luckily, Jar Jar Binks and Mace Windu put a stop to that, resulting in her body disintegrating into mist. Commander Sebek, Warden of the Citadel, is next. Sebek prides himself on running the Citadel, a prison meant to hold Jedi. He enjoys breaking their spirits and torturing them as well. The Citadel is inescapable, and he designed it with deadly traps to capture and kill fleeing Jedi. Despite his cruel nature, he is a coward who actively hides when his superiors confront him. He ignores Count Dooku's contacts out of fear when prisoners actually escaped the Citadel. At the end of the day, he's just a creep who hides in his fortress. Barriss Offee takes the next spot, and for good reason too. She masterminds the bombing of the Jedi Temple and frames her friend Ahsoka Tano for it. Worse yet, Offee tried to kill Ahsoka in an abandoned warehouse and stole Asajj Ventress's red lightsabers, claiming they suit her. She fell to the dark side and framed her friend. Ahsoka would have received the death penalty if her plan succeeded. Not exactly a good friend. The head of the Death Watch clan, Pre Vizsla, comes next. Pre Vizsla is a Mandalorian who glorifies the brutal and violent ways of the Mandalorian culture, and he doubles as the crooked governor of Mandalore's moon. His Death Watch clan worked with the Separatists to take the capital away from the Duchess, though this does not work. Therefore, Vizsla partnered with Maul and successfully overtook the capital. But being the traitor that he is, he has Maul imprisoned and starts his regime. However, Vizsla got his comeuppance and was later beheaded by Maul. Sith assassin turned bounty hunter Asajj Ventress takes the next spot. Ventress was a cruel assassin who was Count Dooku's apprentice. She enjoyed being tasked with missions that enabled her to strike fear into the Republic. She reveled in the Republic's dislike of her, and usually went out of her way to duel with Jedi on her missions. However, it was when Dooku and Sidious betrayed her when she abandoned the Sith and returned to her fellow Night Sisters. After General Grievous led a massacre on the Night Sisters, she went into hiding and became a bounty hunter, where she eventually helped Ahsoka prove her innocence. After all, they do have a fair amount in common. Moving on, we have Moralo Evol, a criminal mastermind who has a penchant for referring to himself in the third person. His ruthless and cold personality manifested itself in all of his actions. He was even known to kill his accomplices. Evol created the Box, a deadly technological arena that would kill all those who couldn't survive. The Box weeded out the weaker bounty hunters until there were 5 left out of the original 11, a testament to his criminal and technological brilliance. Luckily, Obi-Wan was able to disguise himself and infiltrate his ranks, and foiled the plot to kidnap the Chancellor. Moving on to Cad Bane, the galaxy's most feared bounty hunter. Bane is a valuable bounty hunter to hire solely because he willingly takes part in jobs that others deem too dangerous or immoral, and on top of that, he specializes in fighting Jedi. Bane is ruthless and money-hungry, often charging his employers extra fees on top of what is already being paid, and will do anything to complete a job. 3 of his worst moments were threatening to launch Ahsoka out of an airlock if Anakin didn't open a holocron for him, kidnapping Force-sensitive babies for Darth Sidious, and plotting to kidnap the Chancellor for the Separatists. Bane is a cold mercenary whose hit list you don't want to be on. Jabba's uncle, Zero the Hutt, is next. Let's start with the fact that he paid to have the Separatists kidnap his nephew Jabba's son. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Zero owns a nightclub where many of the galaxy's shadiest figures hang out and runs many illegal operations. After his plot was exposed by Padme, he attempted to have her assassinated. We thought Jabba was bad, but his Uncle Zero is far worse. Newt Gunray, the Viceroy of the Trade Federation, is understandably low on our list. Gunray is one of the main leaders of the Separatists, using his wealth and influence to bully and manipulate less fortunate planets into joining the Separatists and using the planets as battlegrounds for war, such as his invasion of Rhodia, where he tried to have Padme and Senator Farr killed. He is extremely cowardly and will claim that he is an innocent pawn when cornered. Unfortunately, he never stays captured for long, and he continues to be a driving force in the Separatist movement. Now we reach Savage Opress, Darth Maul's brother. Savage isn't that bright, but what he lacks in brains, he makes up for in his anger and bloodlust. Described by Obi-Wan as a reckless, impulsive animal. He was meant to be a tool for Ventress to get revenge on Dooku, but Savage snapped and attempted to murder both of them. He and Maul formed the Shadow Collective to take over Mandalore and establishing a criminal empire, all to help Maul get revenge on Obi-Wan. While Maul may have had control, Savage was a deadly enforcer and a dark side monstrosity. The brilliant Separatist naval leader, Admiral Trench, comes next. Trench is a force to be reckoned with in warfare. With a sharp mind and remorseless personality, he has destroyed many clone fleets and is one of the Separatists' most decorated admirals. He views war as a big game and will toy with his opponents before opening fire. Though nearly unbeatable, Trench was extremely arrogant, causing his defeat during the blockade of Christophsis, leaving half his body needing cybernetic enhancement. Luckily for the Republic, he was defeated for good when he was killed by Anakin Skywalker during an interrogation. Next is one of the series' most loathsome characters, Pong Krell. Pong Krell was originally introduced as a belligerent Jedi general who had a strong disdain for clones, evidenced by his missions usually having high clone casualties. Unfortunately, he was so much worse. He was a traitor and sided with the Separatists, turning his back on the Jedi Order in an attempt to become Count Dooku's apprentice. His most heinous act was pitting the clones against each other in combat, having them believe that they were fighting enemies, simply because he could. His reign of terror was ended when the clones staged a mutiny, capturing and eventually killing him to prevent further destruction of their ranks. One of the most feared Separatist warlords takes the next spot, Riff Tamson. He assassinated the king of Mon Cala, thus destabilizing the coexistence between the Mon Calamari and the Quarren in order to plunge the planet into war, taking advantage of the Quarren and bullying them into allowing Separatist forces on Mon Cala. Tamson is a cruel and bloodthirsty warrior, taking delight in torturing his prisoners and sending civilians to internment camps. He tortured and executed Republic forces slowly to draw Prince Li Char out of hiding, taking pleasure in the young prince's struggles and inexperience while Tamson invaded the planet. Ironically, it was Li Char who killed him, activating a bomb stuck on Tamson, blowing him to pieces. We arrive next at the mad scientist of the Separatists, Dr. Nuvo Vindi. Dr. Vindi was assigned to create a virus that would be set upon Republic worlds, and boy did this maniac deliver. He replicated the Blue Shadow virus, the deadliest disease the galaxy has dealt with, and created an airborne strain of it. His plan was to release it on all the Republic worlds, causing death all over their system. He thoroughly enjoyed thinking about the billions of lives it would claim, laughing as he created bombs that carried the disease. Thankfully, his plan was stopped before he could spread it, saving countless worlds. Now, the leader of the Separatists himself, Count Dooku. Count Dooku is a stern and cold Sith master and leader of the Separatist Alliance. Everything the Separatists do is by his order. He controls most of the big industries in the galaxy, such as the Trade Federation, the Banking Clan, and the Techno Union, among others, using them to bleed the Republic of their money. He was also the master to Asajj Ventress before he was ordered to kill her by his master Darth Sidious. Despite his dark nature, he genuinely believes in the Separatist cause and wants to save the galaxy and betray his master, though we use the term saving loosely. Dooku is also interesting as he does hold the Jedi in high regard and respects their abilities, but he is a Sith Lord and will stop at nothing to destroy the Republic. At the end of the day, he is ruthless and cunning, but ultimately Darth Sidious's pawn. Finally, we get to the top 5 most evil, and we're starting with the most vile Separatist leader, Wat Tambor. When we first see him in the Clone Wars, Tambor had blockaded the planet Ryloth and was stealing its valuables and massacring its citizens. He even held them near his bases as a kind of living shield so the Republic wouldn't attack them. He was ruthless in his efforts to plunder Ryloth and was bent on taking anything decent the planet had to offer. Though he was stopped, he appeared again on his homeworld, where he was torturing the kidnapped clone trooper Echo as a human computer to calculate the Republic's attacks and set up the proper defenses to stifle their military. He clearly has no regard for life and will gladly take over worlds and harm others to gain money and power. Just outside the top 3 most evil is Darth Maul. Fans were shocked at Maul's return to the series, believing him to be dead, but Maul came back with a vengeance. For the entire time we see him, he harbors a deep hatred for Obi-Wan after he cut Maul in half, and as a result, all of Maul's plots revolve around killing Obi-Wan. His worst act by far was his alliance with Pre Vizsla to take over Mandalore and oust Duchess Satine. He then killed Vizsla and installed a puppet prime minister in Elmec. He then proceeded to murder Satine in front of Obi-Wan to emotionally break him and rule Mandalore with an iron fist. However, when he had premonitions about the fall of the Republic and Anakin's turn to the dark side, he offered Ahsoka a chance to join him and stand against Darth Sidious while they still had time. She refused. He tried to warn the Republic forces of the impending doom, so he gets some points for honesty. The Bronze Medal of Evil goes to the Son. It makes sense too, seeing as he is the physical incarnation of the dark side. This guy's main goal was to break free of the Force world of Mortis and escape into the galaxy, where he would likely cause others to succumb to the darkness. He corrupted Ahsoka to goad Anakin to the dark side. When that failed, he tried to sway Anakin to the dark side by showing him his future and the atrocities he would commit as Darth Vader. Luckily, the father was able to wipe Anakin's mind of that event. The son even killed the daughter when she tried to stop him from escaping. This caused him severe guilt and pain, and this regret caused him to slip even further into the darkness. The father then sacrificed himself to weaken the son's power. The son was horrified and reconciled his relationship with his dying father, only for Anakin to kill him, thus balancing Mortis. The son doesn't get silver or gold simply because it's in his nature and he didn't choose to be the dark side of the Force. Even the father said that he knew there was good in him. With that said, now we get to the Silver Medal of Evil with General Grievous. The sadistic leader of the droid army and the galaxy's most feared Jedi killer. His name says it all. There is no redeeming qualities to attribute to him. He leads sieges on unsuspecting Republic worlds, usually disposing of their leaders and conquering it for the Separatists. As the general of the droid army, he is directly responsible for what the Separatist military does, and he takes pleasure in his numerous kills and planets he has taken. Among some of his worst deeds include the political prisoners and Jedi, capturing and torturing the Jedi Eth Koth, strictly because it was painful for the Jedi to know that one of their own was being held captive in such a way. We also can't forget to mention his massacre of the Night Sisters, where he went to Dathomir to find Asajj Ventress and ended up killing most of Ventress's Night Sister clan. Finally, in one of the most chilling scenes of the show, came when Kit Fisto and his former Padawan and a squad of clones infiltrated Grievous's lair and found his trophy room. And by trophy, we mean the lightsabers that he has collected from Jedi that he's murdered. And boy, there were a lot of them. Finally, shocking no one at all, Chancellor Palpatine, aka Darth Sidious, wins the Gold Medal of Evil. Palpatine is a devious and manipulative Sith Lord who orchestrated the war between the Separatists and the Republic, where he leads both sides. As Chancellor Palpatine, he leads the Republic through the war, making decisions to prolong the war at every turn. As Darth Sidious, he is the shadowy master of Count Dooku, telling him what moves to make next. Palpatine is the puppet master of the galaxy. Every win or loss on either side only furthers his plan to rule the galaxy. He is behind everything, including Order 66, which caused the clones to turn on the Jedi. His allies are merely pawns to him. He will sacrifice them to achieve his goals, and he views everyone as expendable. Ultimately, he turns Anakin to the dark side, destroys the Jedi, destroys the Separatists, and takes control as the Emperor of the galaxy, earning him the Gold Medal of Evil. But what do you think? There are a lot of characters in Clone Wars, so who do you think are the most noble and the most evil? Make sure to hit that notification bell and binge our Good to Evil playlist, where we break down the morality of the characters in your favorite cartoons, shows, and movies. But most importantly, stay wicked.